Alright, so this one I'm pretty excited about. This is more of a very, very casual deck. It's kind of fun to play, but I tried getting it to compete with the meta, but it's still lacking a couple of tech cards, so I'm still working on it. But so far, this is the build that I have with based on the cards I wanted to play. I just a big fan of sushi, and looks as you guys can see, my daughter is as well. Love sushi. I even uh try to learn and make sushi in at home just so she can have it, and it's pretty fun. It's a lot of work just to eat it in a couple of minutes, but um, the Suship, really amazing deck. It's really fun to play, but it's just having a little tough time adjusting to the meta. Again, I'm sure we can take a look at this and see what we can do with couple of tech cards and trying to put some tech cards in here that can adapt to the meta. But I just wanted to show you guys like the build that I have, especially the Pharaohs Gods tin has been released, and there's a card in here that I've been kind of having fun playing with. This can take um, some some opponent by surprise, and again, it's just kind of fun to play. So want to use this as a reference, and I'm sure that we're gonna update this, especially that we have been waiting weeks, months for the new ban list. So yeah, let's get started. Uh, Definitely the Shari. This is the basically the main guy of the deck. I only have two copies of the super, so I'm still waiting on the third super, so I can play a high rarity of this a higher rarity of this Shari. But back to the deck profile. This is the main guy. The deck revolves around Shari, um, which helps out because they have the Shari red, which this guy's name becomes Shari if it's in the deck, field, or graveyard. So it helps out. So basically, you have six copies of the Shari, which is again the main guy. The deck functions just based around it. The supports would be Shirao. Uh, Sorry if I'm saying this wrong, but yeah, uh, this guy is pretty cool because he's the one where you exceed with the Shari. Uh, you would get the field spell, and you get to draw uh, when you exceed with the Gunkan Suship. So um, really awesome to kind of start with. One of the other ones would be Ikura. Um, this is the one where you can excavate, and if you excavate one of the Shari, you can special summon it, which is one of the six. Um, and then it has its own kind of exceed as well, which I'll show you guys later. And then the exceeds have their kind of like own special effects too, which is pretty neat. And then we have Uni. This is the level 5 guy, which you would think it's kind of hard to summon, but they have like kind of like their own effect where you can special summon it if you have the Shari or a Gunkan Suship. So it helps out. If you have the red, you can reveal a Shari, special summon this, and then go from there. But this one's probably I want to say outside of Shirauo, this one would be one of my favorite as well, just because of the exceed that it brings out. The exceed can attack directly, and also at the same time, it's a super rare, so pretty neat. It's gonna be this guy right here. For that focus, yes, super dreadnought. So it has that effect where it can attack directly, and then it's the one that can kind of compete with the meta because it has the effect where it's either your main phase or battle phase. You can target face of cards your opponent control up to the number of Gunkan monsters, which is the exceed. Um, you can negate like the effects of cards on your opponent side of the field. Uh, so back to the main deck, we have the Uni, and then to support it, I'm still playing 3 Rescue Rabbit, which I'm kind of iffy about this. I'm going back and forth just because you do get access to the Shari, which is the normal monster, super fast with a lot of the other spell supports. But Rescue Rabbit does bring out 2 of them, so it does extend your rank 4 place. So I'm kind of going back and forth in this. I might just replace this with Imperms, but for right now, I'm still testing out with the Rescue Rabbit. This one I kind of saw like a different potential. When the Pharaohs God 10 got reprinted, I saw the Magic Key cards, and this seems to be a really good tech card because you only need one. You can reborn the when this card is normal summon, you can reborn the Shari, and then either make the Synchro or the Exceed, which kind of helps out with the negate part of the deck. And then the synchro as well. You can set the counter trap card for the magic key, which it helps out because you can do a negate. Uh, so yeah, so I'm trying this out. So far, it's working okay. And then the main thing I'm trying to focus on, just because you do stack the deck legally, there's an effect where you can put a Shari on top of the deck. Um, we use a couple of support cards from the new set and the really old card. It's called True Name, which I'm going to show you in here in a second. But bringing out the Obelisk, it's a 4,000 attack, so you can just to punch your opponent with a 4,000 attack, or you can utilize its effect to destroy all your opponent's monster, and then the new card would just banish it, and then it deals like 500 damage for each card. So really awesome tech. So far I'm just kind of experimenting with something like this. It, it's something that's kind of gimmicky, but it's fun to bring it out. So for the consistency, we bring out the Unexpected Die, brings out the Shari right from the deck to the field, and it triggers some of your spells to draw or to stack. And then on top of that, we have the triple Painful Decision, which a fun interaction with this, you would have to dump the vanilla monster, which is the original Shari. But since the Shari Red is also named Shari from the deck, once you dump the vanilla, you add the Shari Red, which is a lot more useful in the hand. So you can reveal a Shari from your hand and then special summon it, and you can special summon any of the Suship card from the deck and then exceed from there. So Painful Decision is definitely a 3 of in here. This is one of the things I was kind of looking into, the Piercing of Darkness, and so far I really like it just because of that draw factor, but also the fact that if you have an Exceed that has the Shari in it as a material, you gain the effect where it's kind of like an honest effect. Really amazing. I love this card. It gives a lot more consistency to the deck, so I don't think I'm going to cut that down to 2, which I know is like some of the Suship deck only plays 1 or 2, because you can only have 1 face up. But so far, I like playing 3 of them just so we can get that draw consistency. I dropped down to 2 of the field spell just because you can search it with Shiraua when you exceed into the exceed version of it. And then also you play Terraforming. So with that being said, and I think I've been checking the Mystic, just one Mystic Mind. So if Mystic Mind does get hit, I'm going to be changing quite a bit of cards on the other decks as well. But I think Mystic Mind is fine. It if it does get hit, I think it should be get hit at 1. The only unfair part of the Mystic Mind is that when you get rid of it, the opponent just have a Metaverse or Demise of the Line or another copy of Mystic Mind, and they just activate it again, and now you have to waste a lot more research. But I think if it gets hit a 1, it should be fine. But again, now we're waiting for the ban list. But since we have the field spells, we have the Suship field spell, the Mystic Mind, so we still play the 1 Terraforming. And then on top of that, we play the Double or Nothing, which is going to be for the Utopia package, because you play the rank 4. You have a lot of level 4. You can get into the Utopia Double, search the Double or Nothing, get a Utopia. Anything that's 2,000 or less attack that your opponent have, you can attack into that, and your Utopia becomes 10,000 damage. That's 8k. So it's a one hit kill. So Reborn, Called by the Grave, for one-ofs, and another one would be Harpy's Feather Duster, just to get rid of back row, because so far it's more of a second deck. But most of the time, it's just the boards that we bring out nowadays. It's just crazy. So it's difficult. So having a back row destruction is good. So you only have to deal with the monster, and that's why I'm thinking about playing the imperm uh, in replacement of the rescue rabbit, so I can kind of deal with the meta. On top of that, back row destruction and monster destruction would be the two lightning storm. So this would help out uh, kind of clear the board, so you can bring out your Gunka and Suships, which is the XCs, and go for a game from there on. But since it's a XCs based deck, I've always been a big fan of this card, but there are times where it's dead because you can't play just because of the board that your opponent have. So I cut it down to two. It's good as a going first or going second, because if you're going first, you can set this, and if they summon something that's lower the attack than your Xyz monster, you can interrupt their play and take that monster and use it as an attachment. Especially if you make Zeus, that just gives her more material. But if you're going second, you can clear the board. It's considered like a board breaker, because you can take one of their monsters and just attach it to one of your Xyz monster. So really amazing card. Been testing out still. And then here's the fun part of it. True name. So you legally stack your deck just because of the cards where you can put a Shari on top of your deck because of the field spell or because of the other card effects. And since you know what's on the top of your deck, you can activate True Name, call the right card, and keep in mind Shari Red would be always be Shari. So if you stack the Shari Red, you would have to call Shari still, which is the vanilla, just so you can utilize this effect. So you would add that to your hand. Not only that you do get that card to your hand, you get to add a god card or special summon it. So most of the time you either special summon Obelisk. So far outside of the three gods, Obelisk seems to be the best option in here. So that's what I went for. True Name is amazing with this deck, just to bring out the Obelisk. And since we have the option to bring out Obelisk as fast as possible, this is the new reprint from the tin. The Breaking Ruin God. The card is insane. If you have Obelisk in your graveyard or your hand, so by drawing Obelisk, it's not really bad, just because if you have this card, you can special summon it from the graveyard or hand, and it's unaffected by card effects. So again, you can just straight punch your opponent for 4,000, or you can utilize this effect. You can tribute two other monster to destroy everything, and then when you do that, you can activate this effect, banish it from the graveyard, and banish all your monsters your opponent's monster from the graveyard, and then deal 500 per each. And again, every time I say that, I keep looking at it just to make sure, and it is. Yeah, it's inflict 500 damage. So really amazing card. And most of the time, like if it's once you bring out the Obelisk, or if it's grindy, your opponent will have so much monsters in the graveyard. And outside of that, it's like a super DD Crow as well. So, and then for the trap card, we only have two. We have the Suship trap card, which is the daily special. It's kind of like a mini pot of avarice, because you can banish this from the graveyard, shuffle your Suship cards into the deck, and then draw one. And then the Magiki unlocking, which is kind of like a solemn judgment kind of effect. You can negate like monster spells and trap if you have a magic-y extra deck monster. So far that's what I've been testing, and it's working out just fine. Kind of interesting kind of tech card there, but it does help. And the magic-y Maftia is a level 4, so you can either exceed with it or synchro with it. It's pretty cool. For the Gunkans, we have two of the Shirowo, because that's the main one you really go to. We have two of the Ikura class Dreadnought. This is for the Ikura one. And then we have one of the Super Dreadnought. Just because it's a rank 5, and it's easier to bring out these two than this guy right here. Most of the time you have to activate the effect of Uni just to get them to be a level 5, and then you can exceed to that. So this is actually the representation of this. Uni is for that Super Dreadnought. Ikura is for this guy, and then Shorauo is for this guy. So you don't have to exceed to this guy, or to this version specifically, but to get the best, to get a lot more value for your play, these would be your combination. So if you have this with Shari, you would exceed to this. If you have Ikura with Shari, you would exceed to this. And if you have Shiruo with Shari, you would exceed to this, just so you can get the kind of like a best value for your play. But yeah, those are the Suship cards. And then again, every time you exceed with a Shari, you draw a card, which is one of my weaknesses in this game. Every time I see something that says draw a card, I really want to go for it. For the other rank 4s, we have the Utopia Double Utopia, and the Lightning. Yeah, just because it's rank 4 based or rank based, this would probably be the best option. And Utopia Double would just be like a one hit kill if there's a 2000 attack monster or less. So yeah, the Utopia package is just really good in here. But since we use a rank 4, we have the Baguska, the Dweller, and Excite Tonight. So these are basically your going first cards. Again, the deck is more of a going second, but if you were forced to be going first, these are kind of the cards you can go to. And then since we have ranks, we play the Zeus. It's just really amazing because if you can't go for a game, at least you have a backup. You have a follow-up play where you can go into Zeus and kind of clear the board. It's a really good card. And then outside of that, we have the two Magic-y option, which is the Synchro and the Exceed. There's times where even if you don't get Maftia, which is the Magic-y effect to bring back and then Synchro with it, and if you open up with the Trap card, you don't want that to be dead. So this one only requires 2 level 4. At least you have a extra deck Magic-y monster, so the Trap card would be live. So yeah, that's the main deck. And again, I'm still trying out like different decks and different strategies for this, but so far this is what I have, and I'm still playing out with it and playing with it to see what would be the best way to kind of get it adapted to the meta.